turn my darkest hour into the, a positive outcome. And, the end results so far have just been amazing.
This is Nashali Alma, who back in January gained international attention when CCTV footage was released of her fighting off an attacker at her gym for 8 minutes. She truly is empowering, and I hope this interview leaves you feeling more empowered like it did for me. And if you like hearing more good news, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, doing good.
Let me just go ahead and introduce my guest, Nashali Alma, or Nashali, if you say it in Spanish.
Thank you for having
me. A Puerto Rican, but she's living in Tampa, Florida, and she's studying to get her BSN RN. Did I say that correctly? Okay, good. Yeah. And also, she's amazing. She's a bodybuilder, and she's getting ready for a show in August, which I'm sure is going to be super exciting. And ever since the incident where she was attacked at a gym in her building, and she fought back for 8 minutes, she's been working on gathering funds to open an all-women's gym and offer free self-defense classes within them. And she's been teaming up with local self-defense instructors to host the seminars. So thank you so much for being here with us. And share with me a little bit about why you got into nursing. Because I know, and also bodybuilding, because I feel like there's in there.
Right. So for, nursing, I had my first job was back in Ocala, which is like up north from Tampa. I worked as a medical transcriptionist with a geriatrics doctor, and we worked in a lot of nursing homes. We did a lot of rounds, and I kind of fell in love with, the interactions with a lot of these patients and how to take care of them and stuff. So I moved my passion from being a veterinarian to nursing. But before becoming a nurse, I got a job here in Tampa as a medical laboratory technologist. So I run hematology labs. So I do a lot of blood work. I kind of figure out what's wrong with you before the doctor does, and then I let them know, and they diagnose you, which is the not really fun part, but it's really cool on my part to figure out, like, oh, this is what's going on with this person. And then later on, a year down the road, that's when I went to pursue my BSN RN degree, in hopes of being an RN in the hospital, to be an ER nurse, and then later down the road become a travel nurse, because travel nurses actually make a lot of money, but I want to have that freedom, to have a free choice to go in different areas and different states and stuff. So I want to do that part. And then bodybuilding. So I first started working out 3 years ago. The first year was just me working out, to try to better myself because I was a little insecure about myself. So I wanted to get into the gym to really become strong-minded and just be strong overall. And then the second year of working out, I met with this really huge dude in the gym. He was huge. And I was like, what do you do? Like, you have to do something. And he's like, oh, I do bodybuilding. I'm a classic physique guy. And he showed me his pictures. He showed me the competitions. And he talked to me into doing a show. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's just do it. It's for fun, right? And then after I did my first show, I just fell in love with it. So I just continued on with it. And, I've been placing first in my other shows. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for the pro card. So I'm prepping right now for August for the national show, in hopes of getting my pro card. So
wow, that's amazing. So you obviously work out a lot.
a lot.
And yes. And at your gym, do you work out a lot at the gym in your building?
So no, so I have like my trainer. So he has his own gym. So I just go down to him with train him. But if I'm not training with him, I do go to my apartment complex gym still. Like the situation hasn't changed one bit of my idea or give me PTSD or anything. I still walk in with full confidence, like I'm fine. Like it happened, it happened. Just keep going.
Right. So let's get into that particular incident. So you were working out at your gym. Around what time was that?
So it was a Sunday night. It was roughly around 9:30 p.m.
Okay. And I know I'd seen in another interview, you said that you had seen this person before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw him around
Go ahead.
I saw him around the gym apartment complex once. So I knew that he was a resident there. That's why I buzzed him in.
Okay, got it. Because I know that there's some confusion there. Like, why would you let some random guy?
Yeah.
Right? We'll get into some of those controversies later, because I feel like a lot of times people get into victim blaming and shaming, and we have no time for that in this world. Okay,
Yeah.
we have enough issues to have to deal with that. So, so you're working out. You see in the CCTV footage, you're working out. You're a badass, and then you let this person in. Seems like he's kind of doing his own thing. But here is the part that I think is really important. Intuitively, did you get a weird feeling about him when you buzzed him in and or before he pursued you? And I bring this up because as women, we don't trust our own gut and intuition. And I'm not trying to be a victim blamer. I'm just saying, hey, at what point did you think, hey, this is something might be up? Or maybe you never got that, and that's okay too. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
No, yeah, yeah. I've got a lot of questions about that, you know. So when I buzzed him in, I didn't think twice of that. Just let him in because he walked into the other direction. So, you know, I'm in the middle of my workout. So I went back to my workout and went to do continue my workout. And he was just sitting on the other side, like you saw in the video. He was just sitting there for a little bit. Like I want to say 5 minutes went by. That's when he ended up on my side of the gym, and he was standing there by the elliptical machines, just staring outside. So that gym you can see from inside and out. So anybody can see you, and anybody can see you from inside. And he was just standing there. And when I finished my hip thrust, I got up, I had turned to my right, and I saw him just standing there. That's when my awareness kicked in. Like,
Got it.
okay, something is off, something's going on, but don't make a scene, don't make a big deal, you know, because
Mhm.
that's like, you know, a thing people do, you know, like you're aware of something, but you don't want to make a scene out of nothing, you know. So I kind of brushed it off, like, okay, maybe he should just do his own thing over there, just minding his business. You know, he's not approaching me. Yeah, he's not doing nothing to me. So I let him be. And then shortly afterwards, that's when he approached me, you know, without saying no words at all. And that's when everything was kind of happened.
Yeah. And so you fought him for 8 minutes.
For 8 minutes, yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, so first of all, that's incredible. Because like you said earlier, and I should have written it down, you said something about strong-minded, because it's not just about the physical. I could tell that you are strong-minded, that you had a will, and that was, like you weren't going to stop. And I know you've shared about that, how important it is to keep going,
Oh, yeah.
keep going for it. And yeah, share with us, is there anything that you were feeling in that moment that, that surprised you maybe even?
So yes, actually. So whenever it happened, you know, at first I was a little confused as to what he was trying to do because he didn't say no words to me in the first beginning. And he was just trying to grab my waist. He was just trying to grab me. But that's when my brain just kicked in like, girl, he's trying to do something to you, he's trying to touch you, he's
Mm,
trying to grab you. And so when I was trying to leave, you know, and then we ended up on the other side of the gym, and that's when I realized like he was trying to rape me. He was.
mhm,
And my mind, it just kicked in from, you know, fight mode, you know, fight or flight kicked in, my fight mode kicked in. And that was my first encounter in my entire 24 years of living. Like I've never been in a fight, I've never been into an argument like that, or never been to whatever it was, you know. And I surprised myself with how much I fought back.
yeah.
Like I said, I had the willpower to fight this man because I was like, I don't want this man's not gonna get what he wants. That's one thing. For two, I'm gonna make sure I leave a mark on him. And you know, he chose the wrong person that night because, like I said, I've been working out for 3 years. So, like I have a good amount of muscle and strength on me, and I just kept fighting. My mind was like, just keep pushing, keep fighting. You know, the back of my head, like my mom always told me to never give up in life. You know, and that's one of the first things I ever said in my first interview. Like back of my head, my mom was in there. You know, and she told me that, and I kept pushing, I kept fighting. I was like, do not like, because my whole mindset was, if you keep moving, I mean, if you keep fighting, he won't get what he wants, and that's exactly what he didn't get. You know, and some people feel that when they're in a situation, if they just stop and give them what they want, obviously they win. But if you're in that situation, if you got to keep moving. That's the only way. Because they're like, oh crap. Because in their mind they have a plan. You know,
Mm.
it's set plan. And so whenever you kind of jump into it, you're like, whoa, I didn't expect any of this outcome. They don't know what to do now. Now they're scrambling, and that's what he kind of did. And you know, I was able to get out.
Wow. I know that you were trying to call 911 at the same time. Oh, that
Yes.
must have been so frustrating. So, how long did it take when were you actually finally able to call 911, and how soon did they come?
So I was able to call 911 after I left. So
Okay.
when we were on the ground and I had him in a lower headlock really quick, I grabbed my phone, I was trying to dial 911, but at the same time, he was trying to grab my phone. So
Sure.
every single time I dialed just one number, he would take my phone like shit, you know, or crap.
Mhm.
He just grabbed the phone, and I was like, okay, you know what, whatever. So I locked it, I threw it on the side so he wouldn't be in reach within it. and then I just started fighting him. But
Mhm.
after I left, after our 8 minutes on the ground, I got up and left. I called 911 immediately, and they came within 2 minutes of the call. And
Amazing.
whenever they arrived, it was 7 patrol cars. So I was like, "Holy crap!" Yeah, it was great.
Right. Yeah. Because they don't know who this guy is, right? So like they
Right.
don't know if he's gonna do something else, or I there's the what ifs, and I don't even want to go into that, but like
No,
they have to
yeah.
abundance of caution on their end. Now, here's my concern. What about, I mean, it was on CCTV footage. What happened to like the guard? Was there anybody, do you have like any type of a guard or concierge in your building?
So at night, like because it was on the weekend, we
Sure.
don't.
Oh, okay.
So the apartment complex, it's you have a key fob to key fob you in, and obviously I let him in because I saw him before. And usually when I forget my key fob, people have buzzed me in too. So I would expect the same thing.
Right.
So at night, there's nobody there. And it was just me by myself, nobody else. And so, it was just him and me fighting for my life and then just leaving. And, when after I left and the cops came, they were looking for him, but obviously he escaped within the nights and they were able to catch him the next day.
Oh, okay. Great. Great. Okay. So here's where the whole like victim blaming part about like, why is she doing the gym by herself at night? Yeah, I love how you're like, look, I haven't skipped a beat. I continue to do my routine that I did before. I'm confident. You know, we can't stop living our lives. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
something happened, so I'm never gonna go to the grocery store. Like I'm not I shouldn't go to the grocery store by myself. I shouldn't walk the dog by myself, right? I mean, like if you put those types of parameters, then you're gonna be sheltered at home for the rest of your life.
Not only that, but you'll never live life. It's like, oh, you should never work out alone or women should never work out alone. Well, why is it our fault? Like, that's what I say, it comes to victim blaming. Why is it our fault? Why can't we work out alone, but a man can work out alone? It's like maybe men are, I'm not saying men themselves, but maybe, people need to change their actions, the way they behave, instead of trying to pinpoint it on women, like women should do
Right.
this, women should do that. I'm like, why us women?
Right, because if you start going into that, then it's like, oh, well, what was she wearing? What was she wearing to the gym? Or what
Yes.
was she, did she talk to him in a certain way? Or, like it's like, okay, that doesn't, none of that warrants being
Right.
attacked.
Right.
None of that
Like
warrants
like
escalate.
you saw me what I was wearing. I was wearing gym clothes.
Right.
And I explained in a lot of videos, he didn't speak a word to me. So it's like I didn't do nothing wrong at all. Like if you ever think about it, obviously to me, obviously I never did anything wrong. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you did this. Oh, you should have done that." Blah blah blah. I'm like, but you're never in that situation. If you've never been in that situation, you kind of don't have an opinion in that. You don't.
Exactly.
And a lot of people feel like they need to share their opinion when they really don't.
That's why I like emphasizing the intuition part. Because no matter what situation you've ever been in, if you get that weird little feeling, like for you, it was the fact that he didn't talk and he
Right.
was just standing there. Like that was a little creepy. Like I'm sure when he did attack you, you were surprised, of course, but you had already felt some weirdness about him.
Right.
It was a little creepy. Like you didn't expect that, of course. But there's
Right.
something, and I think that's the point that I want to empower women also, is to trust their gut, because we are very trusting of other people more than we are trusting of our own gut and intuition.
Yep.
And I think that that is the most empowering thing, is when you can trust yourself and you can trust how you're feeling and say no if you need to, or when you need
Right.
to, right? Instead of, like you said, just kind of lying and taking it, because
Right.
that's
Oh
so
no, yeah.
disempowering.
Because when it happened, I was vocal, obviously, and like you can't see in the video, but I was screaming at him, cursing at him. I made it very clear and vocal, like you're not gonna touch me, you're not gonna get what you want, you're not gonna get anything out of this. And that's one thing I always like. My mom always embraced within us because I'm Puerto Rican, so
Mhm.
she always embraces that loudness, and to kind of just stand your ground, and that's where
Mm.
it kind of rooted all from. So the entire time, like, I wish the video had audio because you could just hear me like cursing at him, like, "What the f is wrong with you? Get the f off of me!" Like I'm over here going in on him, and he's just not saying a single word to me, and I'm just over here just blabbing stuff out of my mouth.
What, knowing this, as I know, like that you started these self-defense classes and you're teaming up with other people. I mean, I feel like this was definitely a catalyst for that. But had that been something you were interested in before, or did this really spark that interest after this incident?
So the spark, it came after this incident. I was never interested in self defense. Like I said, I've never taken self defense. But after this happening, even though I had the willpower to fight back, maybe had knowing some of these skills would have helped me even more. Kind of kind of like control the situation even more.
Hmm. It's interesting. I am like I think when you were talking about like the whole like stand your ground, like I feel like very scrappy, like we're just gonna like do it or whatever. And I was not really ever like that until I moved into my own house. And now I do like I have like a boxing thingy and I,
Yeah.
do a lot of stuff. And I feel so much more confident just having a few extra tools that make me feel more powerful. And I think that just having those tools, it's not about fighting, right? But it's about the confidence because I
To
think
fight
that,
back. Yeah.
right? And so I think that in some cases that might even repel people from even trying to pursue. It's like, no, I don't want to mess. The fact that that guy thought he could mess with you.
That's what I'm saying. That's my whole point. Like I said, I've never been in a fight in my entire life, and my first instinct was to fight back, and luckily I did. And if I had the skills or had the knowledge or some idea of like self defense, it would have helped me even more. Like, okay, you're choosing the wrong person here. Obviously,
Right.
chose the wrong person no matter what. But in other situations, I would be more prepared and understanding. Okay, this is what's going on in front of me. My reality just kicked in. This man's trying to attack me, but I know what to do. I know what to throw. And some people don't realize that. And that's why, like, I want to offer these free self defense classes because I feel like a lot of women need to have this just knowledge, this an idea as to what to do in case they're ever in that situation.
Right. And you said earlier that people say what should have happened without ever having been in the situation. But what's good about the self-defense classes is that it kind of gives you some preparation of
Yeah,
what could happen. Right. I love how you said that people go in with a plan, like the attackers go with in a plan. They probably don't have a plan B, C, D, E, F. But when you
correct.
do self-defense classes, you kind of know, like, okay, what if this happens? You could do this.
Right.
It can prepare you mentally in advance, and I love that, being able to outsmart
Yes.
the attacker in that sense.
Yeah, because when he stood there for a little bit, and after he approached me, I didn't think I think he didn't expect me to be vocal or push him back or touch him and do all the stuff. So his brain kind of went like, "Oh crap, what's going on?" It's the same with self defense. If you knew what to do, you had the skills, you would throw them off their plan. Because a lot of these hackers, they always have a plan. They know, like, okay, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna do this. I mean, anybody, attacker, a regular person, human being, going to the store, grocery store, for example. All right, I'm gonna go to Publix. I'm gonna go grab a soda. I'm gonna go grab this. Everyone has a plan. But as soon as someone steps in their way, it messes them up. Like, oh,
Right.
what was I supposed to do? If your mom calls you, hello, you answer, you hang up, you forget. So it's just like that. Having that self defense, it ruins their plan, but also prepares you. When you take these classes, they give you scenarios as to what would happen. If it does happen, you know what to do. And I think that's really cool.
And what happened? What's the status with the attacker? Is he in jail? Has he been charged? Is he awaiting trial? Do you know?
So he's been in jail since, January 23rd. So he's been in jail, no bond. He's still in jail. We're waiting for trial, but he's not competent to stand trial. So they have to send a psychologist to kind of evaluate him to see if he can. But until then, he's stuck in there,
Mhm.
until he gets like a little better to kind of stand trial, but he's still waiting on his charges. He has, the kidnapping, false imprisonment, and then sexual assault. So he has all those pending still. He's in there
Mhm.
kind of suffering at the moment still, but things happen.
Right, right. Okay. Well, I'm glad that he's in jail and without bond. So at least we
Yeah.
know, because that's one less thing you have to worry about, or
Oh yeah.
anybody who's been victimized by him has to worry about. As far as I know people have reached out to you after seeing that. What are some of the things that people are telling you that they were inspired by your story?
Oh yeah. I've gotten thousands of messages. It's still deep to this day. A lot of it's mostly women. I do get a little bit of dads, but a lot of women, they share their story as to what happened to them to me. And they say like they're inspired by me. That this is the first time in 15 years I've ever shared my story because you've given me a voice, them call me a badass, them call me just a hero. And a lot of dads, message me and they're like, I am so proud of you. You know, not even my own dad, like a random dad, like, I'm so proud of you. I'm gonna show my daughters this. This is what hero looks like. This is what fighting looks like. I'm gonna put them in self-defense classes. Like, I've inspired so many people to take self-defense, to work out, you know, to be more aware of themselves and to just be strong, you know, and that is one of the most amazing outcomes of this, you know, seeing that I've inspired thousands to hundred thousands of people just to better themselves, you know, and it's great.
And with that, you were awarded I think it was a Strength and Courage. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Strength and Courage Award from the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office. How does that feel for you, or how did that feel for you?
So it felt so unreal. Like, at the moment when I got the award, I got the only standing ovation. And so seeing that and seeing that everyone stood up for me and my only award and being the first person to get this award, because I didn't know. So when they called me, they're like, "Hey, the sheriff wants to give you an award." I didn't know what type of award it was. I didn't know I was the first one to get this award. So whenever that happened, I was about to cry. I was trying to hold back my tears so I can take my pictures. Like, don't cry yet, don't cry yet, take a picture. And then, like, after the award ceremony, I had everyone come up to me and take pictures and stuff. And as soon as I walked out the door, I had like 10 news stations just standing there waiting for me to come talk to me. And I'm like, like, I'm gonna cry. I'm like, hold on, waiting a moment. So, but it was crazy. It was great though. Yeah.
I can't do that without getting off frame. But yeah, that's amazing. Oh my God, that must have felt so good. I mean, and being called a hero, and I know because you're a nurse, you're like, but that's just the way I am, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm like, I work in healthcare, I'm used to it, like,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. But that award changed so much. Like, being the first person to get that award, getting that standing ovation, and just getting the award, it just felt unreal.
Awesome. And so I know that you want to open up a women's only gym eventually, right? You have the self-defense classes. What are you working on right now? And maybe how can people help you for that end?
So right now I have a GoFundMe up and running. It's to raise the funds for the all women's gym and the self defense class. To build it all that within that. So I have the GoFundMe up and running. It's a Never Give Up campaign.
Awesome.
So right now we have a couple thousand. I want to say up close to 8,000 right now in the funds. So it's a good start. But as of right now too, I'm teaming up with self defense instructors locally here in Tampa. We're doing seminars. Hopefully, see the next 2 weeks on the weekends and kind of build up more funds that way too. And also offer people self-defense too. So those are my plans right now.
Awesome. I'll definitely share that GoFundMe as well. That's
Thank you.
amazing. But ideally, by when would you love this gym to open?
If we could get enough funds, or halfway through the funds, I would be hoping that by the end of this year that we could open up one of the local ones here in Tampa, a small area. Start off with obviously, and then let's see how well it's doing, and then kind of build up from there.
Awesome. Amazing. Something I'm really interested in is you were going to start a campaign for legislation against SA, or to help support SA. Where are you at with that? And what's the vision that you have for that?
So we're still working on it. So my management team is actually in contact with DeSantis, the one, our governor here, because he posted, I want to say back in January or February, that he wants to raise legislation on child rapists, give them a life sentence. So we've reached out and see, hey, since you want to do this for child rapists, how about for sexual assault? So we kind of reached out with him, and we're in contact with him trying to figure stuff out. So that's one of our plans still right now. We're just waiting for one of the big boys up there in the house and stuff to kind of reach out to us and go forward with that, because obviously after me being attacked, I realized, a lot of sexual assault survivors don't have enough justice. And, these attackers, you make the choice, right? So you deserve to be in prison for life. That's simple as that. Just like anybody else, you murder someone, you get a life sentence, Child rapist, he wants to do a life sentence for them. Same thing should be for sexual assault. Man or woman, you do the crime, you got to do the time. The time is being life sentence in prison. And I believe in that. Just
Yeah, I mean, the statistics are pitiful. I mean, I think it's like, well, at most SA, or a lot of SA, is underreported as it is. Then, I think the last statistic I saw was like only 6% of rapists actually go to jail. This is pitiful.
Isn't that's insane? Because, like I said, like I believe it's probably like 25 out of 1,000 rapists walk free, or sorry, go to prison.
Right.
The rest just walk freely on the streets, and like they could do the crime again and get away with it again because they know, oh,
Repeat offender.
nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm just gonna do it again. And so these attackers need to have that fear in their mind. If I do this crime, I get a life sentence, and it's just unfair because these victims deal with this for a life sentence. So why can't their attackers deal with this for a life sentence? And
Absolutely.
so
Yeah, I think we're both really passionate about this. I want to support
Yeah.
wherever I can. I mean, if there's something where maybe you want to do like a, I don't know, like a social media campaign to get more out. I live in Florida too, so maybe there's, maybe we can help to get some legislation in Florida. I mean, we could start here and then afterward go national,
Right.
But if you do end up having anything pass, let me know. I'll do videos on it and we can talk about it. We can get some more
That'd be awesome.
buzz on that to see what else we can do, to get that. Because there needs to be a more serious approach to it. It's just
It's taken as a joke, Like I said, these attackers, they attack. For example, for my attacker, he did this crime before in a different state, but he was never caught. Never caught. But yet he did it here, and he was finally caught because obviously, I had all the evidence and there was video and everything. And now he's waiting for trial. And now that this video went viral, he's gonna face maybe 5 to 7 years, and that's it. No, he deserves to stay in there for a lifetime sentence. I'm sorry,
Right.
but people like that don't deserve to walk these streets. And it's hard to hear. People say, "Oh, but what if they're falsely accused?" Well, they're falsely accused. We can prove it. That's how the law works, right? You prove their innocency. But if there's proof that they've done this crime, that they've done all of this, and that they planned it, and they admitted to it, they deserve a lifetime sentence. Above that.
Yeah, and really, is he even going to be rehabbed after 5 to 7 years in prison?
And it's sad because he also has mental health issues. That's why he's not competent to stand trial. And his mom reached out to me, and she had said, "I'm so sorry my son did this. He has mental health issues. He's schizophrenic, and I don't want him to be out here. I want him to stay in there with no bond. I will not help him out." Your own mother reached out to me and tells me that. What tells me about yourself then? Your mother doesn't even want to help you. And it's kind of sad that the mother knew that he had these things going on, but decided not to help him, and so his mind wandered off and decided to do these instead.
In a sense, he's safer to himself and to the public by being in jail. Yeah. Wow.
And that's a lot of these attackers, their minds kind of just go manic, and they just kind of go off the trail and like, oh, let me just do this. I'll be fine, But until they get caught, they have no worries because they'll be out within a couple of days or a couple of months and do it right over again.
Wow. So, is there anything else that we can support you with? So I know you have the GoFundMe. Once you come up with more of this campaign, anything else that we can support you with in any way?
So yeah, I have the campaign. I got my seminars coming up too, but that's about like my start. I'm just waiting for the big boys, like I said, to kind of kick in. Like, all right, let's do this. But until then, I'm just kind of waiting. It's just a waiting game, unfortunately. And it sucks, but it's a waiting process.
You're also getting the word out by agreeing to do these interviews.
Yes,
so that's great,
yeah.
Because it's just like, everyone, there's a collective that is listening to this and it's inspired by your story. So I think that's going to help as well. And how can people get in contact with you? Maybe give us your socials, the best way to reach you.
Yeah. So I have I only use Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But it's my first and my last name. That's it. It's simple. I make it as simple as possible. Yeah.
And I guess we'll wrap up. And I just wanted to ask a question about, what advice would you share with women, primarily young women, based on your experience? Like parting words that you'd like to share with them.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, like you said earlier, be more aware and trust your gut, and if you're ever in that situation, to never give up, to keep fighting, keep pushing, keep moving. They will eventually give up. They will eventually let go. and just be more strong, get back in that gym, take some self-defense classes. This world is just very cruel. And, it's better to be more prepared than not.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for
This,
having me.
this was a lot of fun, and I just look forward. I know that you're amazing and doing awesome things. So, in particular about that legislation, I think I can definitely support with that as well. I'm also very interested and passionate about that. So let's see whatever we can do, and also tell self-defense. Maybe we can bring it down to Miami. I don't know. We'll talk about that. We can get some local women's only gyms, and maybe we can do something.
Well, I have a Miami self-defense instructor that I'm meeting up with, I think in 2 weeks too. So maybe we can all meet up there.
Awesome. Okay, great. Sounds good. I'd love that. Well, Nashli, it was so wonderful meeting you in person or via Zoom.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing all amazing things that continue with
Thank
your
you.
journey.
Thank you for having me.
After listening to this video, do you feel more empowered like I do? If you enjoyed this video, let me know your favorite part in the comments, and please like and share the video, and make sure to subscribe so we can continue to spread more empowering news in the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you.